This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced. Hello, folks, and welcome to the Cali Hotel in Singleton. This is where we've been for the last week or so, doing Magna Carta 1215 lessons. I'm wearing the shirt with the bloody thing on it we can't see. But anyway, we're in the market for a new night. If you have the artist skills, we're very keen to talk to you. Hello, Melissa in Canberra. Scott Austin, yes, about bloody time. I do apologise. I've been struggling this week. We've done so much work with the folks here in Singleton with Magna Carta 1215. I've barely got a voice left. But tonight's going to be a good night, folks. The Guru is coming to town. He's bringing the missus and he's bringing Kaz. So tonight, the Friday night free-for-all is going to be pretty interesting, I think. London Bridge has fallen. Right. So the Queen has passed. Well, we all know, if you've been watching us for a while, yes, Ding Dong the Witch is definitely dead. She died, well, a couple of years ago or more, but the announcement is key. So the announcement of the Queen's death is a trigger. For those people who haven't been watching or haven't been listening or haven't been a part of our movement now for, well, 2 years or more, this is a trigger. Now, this trigger coincides with some of the stuff that I alluded to the other day, and I was going to talk about the whole Trump and executive order thing, but I think everybody by now would have seen Derek Johnson's expose of that. So if you didn't go and look up the executive orders that Trump signed in September of 2018, then go and do so now, particularly Executive Order 13848. That is a very significant order. It has to do with initializing a national emergency, and if Congress doesn't action such a national emergency or doesn't at least look at it and try and remedy the situation, then other triggers follow from that through the US Constitution. All of those triggers involve military. Now, if you go and read that executive order and look at the dates where he enacted that he started certain agencies in those executive orders, one of which was a fraud committee, another one delved into other areas. They were all due to start on November 3rd at midnight, November the 3rd, 2020. What that effectively meant, and I think I said it at the time, I certainly did privately, I know I did in Facebook chats and typed it all over the place, but I wasn't really doing this kind of thing back then. But that executive order is key, absolutely key, because it triggers the military. All right? That means that come November 3rd, 2020, the day before the 2020 presidential election, the military took control. That meant the military were supervising the election. They tracked everything. You've heard me talk about non-radioactive isotopes on vote papers before. Every ballot in America was able to be tracked, and that's exactly what they did. They tracked how many went to whose letterbox, whether they went inside the house from the letterbox or whether they were collected from the letterbox in bulk and taken to another address, all filled out, and later, as you would see in Dinesh D'Souza's videos, 2000 Mules, where piles of them this thick are forced down into the throats of ballot boxes. This all comes back to play, folks. Now, that executive order 13848 was due to end September the 11th, 2021, but it was extended. Why was it extended, and when was it extended to? It was extended to 2022, September the 11th. September the 11th is another key date. So is September the 15th. There is more coming. October the 1st is going to be huge. We believe that October the 1st will be the day where the Vatican essentially cedes control of the world back to the powers that be. The Vatican have already issued a recall for its people, and more particularly its money. If the Vatican has lent you, a bank, money, then they have called for it to be back. They've called in all their loans, has to be back in by October the 1st. We see that as a sort of a line being drawn in the sand with the financial system. Now, let's go to the Queen and her passing. Now, We've spoken about the Queen passing before, and she's passed a long time ago, be assured of that. There are all sorts of predictions of things that will happen once London Bridge falls. There will be disclosure, there will be confessions, there will be all sorts of things. You might also, just on the side, keep in mind that there is a very large, in fact, the largest rocket that man has ever created, sitting now back inside a construction centre being fixed. Before it can be launched. They tried to launch the Artemis rocket twice last week to go to the moon. That's where it's going. It's unmanned. You can be guaranteed that, well, if you think it's going to get to the moon, it'll be full of cameras. It'll be full of cameras regardless to wherever it's actually going. We will be seeing a theatre play out from that, is my belief. Who knows? The rocket ship will orbit the moon and we will see something unexpected coming from our 4K cameras. Expect something like that. Don't get too terrified or panicked about it. If you've got a really good telescope, go out and have a look at the moon on any bright night. If you can zoom in and actually see the moon's surface, you'll start to realize why they only ever show us still pictures of the moon. Because if you get close enough, if you've got a good enough telescope, you can see shit moving around on the surface of the moon. Right? There are reflectors all over the moon. Not reflectors that we've left in the previous times we've been there, but all over the moon. Little flashing lights. I don't know if they're reflectors, don't know if they're buildings, don't know what they are, but they're bloody flashing things on the moon, and we didn't put them there, right? So there are things moving on the surface of the moon. I don't recall us sending anything up there that would have a battery life of 30 years, or 50 years. So let's, have a look at that. If you've got a really good telescope and you've got the ability to record video through that telescope, then do it, right? Watch the moon. I would also recommend there is a movie that has been released recently on one of the streaming services. I want to say it's, without mentioning their name, you could find it if you were in a prime position. Go and have a look at a movie called Moonfall. It's just a really interesting movie at this time. The Queen dying. What is next? What comes next? Well, there's a variety of things that we think are going to come next, but you can be guaranteed the financial system is in for a very huge shake-up. I would expect the financial system is going to close down, and others are saying that it is going to start closing from the UK and it will move out around the rest of the world, and we will look at 10 days of financial darkness. Banks closed, the whole financial system being reset. This is likely to cause some panic, some distrust with people, some fear, particularly those that are unawake. Listen, don't freak. That's not what this is about. There will be some panic, but we are enlightened. We know what's coming. So this all gets down to how much cash have you got in the bank? How much cash can you take out of the bank before the bank closes its door? And even if you take it out of the bank and have it all tucked away in your mattress, is it going to be worth the paper it's written on after whatever happens? This I can't tell you anything about. I don't have any idea what is going to come after this, but I cannot see that they are immediately going to, turn our paper into worthless bits of paper. It would be too much of a grasp on too many societies through the world, too many different currencies, too many this, too many that. I understand that the QFS, the quantum financial system, has been running now at least for 12 months in direct line with the current financial system, the evil one. It is ready to step in and take over, but there is going to be a rationalisation of the books. That's going to need to take a day or two. So don't freak out. Have a bit of cash on hand. If you can do that, then great. Have a bit of cash. Have your food. Have all the stuff we've been telling you to be ready for ready, right? Because the next 3 weeks are going to be key. Everything has to play out before the 8th of November. They cannot let the 2020 election result stand. They cannot let the fraud continue. So I think I'd probably just got myself banned off everybody saying that, but there you go. They cannot let it stand, right? They just can't. So if it does, all is lost, because all the next election will be that 20, or this coming midterm election, it'll be rigged as well. And that just leaves the American people and the rest of the world wondering, what the hell is America all up about? So look, I'm going to have a bit of a look. Guru's on his way here. We're expecting him to turn up in the next couple of hours. We're going to have a nice bit of a lunch, and we'll plan what we're going to do tonight. I have been in contact with the the Boseys. I've sent a message through to ask if Rick would like 10 minutes tonight or the whole show. Unfortunately, he has another plan tonight, so he won't be joining us. But I'm sure Guru, Mel, his lovely wife, is joining us. Cass is coming to town too. We're going to speak with Darren Bergworth tonight from Victoria. Now, Darren is a powerhouse in Victoria with what's going on at a community level. Now, you know, what we're trying to build here is communities at community level that link together, become bigger, become stronger. Darren is leading the fight down in Victoria. The Frankston Community Council has been set up. We're going to talk about that tonight. But Darren was also instrumental in setting up the Public Trust of Victoria, along with Spiros, the barrister who's working tirelessly for our cause at the moment. Now, we will explain the trust as it works in Victoria. I know it has been rolled out in other states, so we'll try and get an update of how that's going at the moment too. But this is a way of starving the illegal government of money and forcing them to the table to talk. And who do they have to talk to? They've got to talk to we the people. They've got to talk to us because we are the solution. There is no other way, folks. There is no other way. So those people who are unawake at the moment and are wiping tears away for the rabbit old witch who's not going to be missed too far here. And look, go back if you can today, if you have access to Sky News. I don't know that they'll replay the vision that they showed last night. But in the lead up to her death last night, they were showing images of her over the years and how she's changed. Now, she hasn't just aged, right? She hasn't just aged. She has changed. Her whole body has changed. And as she's reached this particular age, she's got a neck on her that looks decidedly lizard-like and sticking out at 90 degrees to her body about that far. So, go and have a bit of a look at some of the stuff that's being played in mainstream media. It's not complimentary. They're saying the right words, but the vision tells a different story. So keep an eye on all of that sort of thing. Just having a bit of a look. So, Sienna says the sun is shining. The birds are singing in Perth. That sounds bloody wonderful. The birds are ducking for cover in Singleton because they've been spraying us for a few days. We got a bit of rain coming our way. Buzz Aldrin said they never went to the moon. Yes, Buzz Aldrin definitely said they never went to the moon. That's why you don't see Buzz on too many television shows anymore. Capricorn 1. If you've never seen the movie Capricorn 1, I want to say it's 1978. Watch Capricorn 1. That'll tell you the true story of the moon landing, or at least as true as we could get it at the time it was made. So, yeah. The Cabal will move forward with their agenda. Dan, yes, you are 100% right. They will move forward with their agenda. So this is where people are going to start to panic and worry. Don't, right? It's all covered. The Cabal, like anything, and look, I'm not into killing things. I have had the misfortune on a couple of occasions where I've had to put animals down. I find it very difficult to do. And you always know, if you've had to put something down, that it struggles hardest at the end. Sorry, I'm just thinking about the animal that I had to put down. That's what's going to happen. Okay? They're going to struggle. They're going to fight. They're going to use every weapon they have, every scratch, every bite, everything. They're going to fight. But they've got no power. They've got no money. All they can do is use what they've got. And we want to believe, we want to hope, we want to pray that those people who are on our side fighting this war have that in hand. So expect, a huge drive from the mainstream media telling us we're going to go to war. America and NATO will, fire up against Russia or China or something like that. Don't freak out. There are going to be a lot of these sorts of stories coming through. It's all in hand. It's all in hand, right? The timeline has started. London Bridge is falling. Things are going to happen rapidly. Just be prepared and stay calm. That's all it has to be. Be prepared and stay calm. A bit like if you're in cyclone territory, make sure you've got batteries in your torch. Make sure you've got batteries in your radio. Make sure you've got a bit of food tucked away. You've got a go bag packed somewhere if you're in an area that might flood or might have some other sort of natural disaster befall it. Know that there are people in every community who will help you. All you need to do is reach out. Okay, and this channel, my channel, Voice of Freedom, go to VOFHQ, send us an email, do whatever you need to do to get in contact with us. If you need help, we will help you. We know people well, not everywhere, but between Guru and I, we probably have a few people scattered across the country who are able to help. And nobody will be left behind. Nobody. If you're awake and you want to be in this fight, it's the most exciting time to be alive ever in the history of the world. And, today, most people won't really understand it. Most people, particularly the trolls. Oh, hello to the Nurembergers. Yeah, how long that one will stay up, boys. Yeah, the trolls are going to have a ball with this, and we're going to have the best time back with them. So a lot of eyes are going to open. There's going to be a lot of tears. There may be the odd scream. Don't make it yours. Don't panic. It's all good. We're going to survive this. And I will be here a lot more regularly. Next week, we are going to Sydney, folks. So we were a bit concerned that we weren't going to be able to go to Sydney and do a show for a variety of different reasons. It's Sydney school holidays, I think. I've got the dog with us and the daughter, so trying to find accommodation for the dog and the daughter and me has been a bit of a battle. But we have come through, and when I say we, I mean some magnificent people in Sydney have found a place for us to stay, and they want to put on a show. So if you are in the Sydney area, I am going to tell you now, I'm probably going to let the cat out of the bag a bit early. Maldini's restaurant in Penrith. It's on the Nepean River. We will have a show there next Thursday night. Now, it's not a large venue. I think we can seat maybe 150 people. So Maldini's restaurant is where we're going to hold it. I'm not sure if Maldini's is the people to call for tickets at the moment. I will get a clarification from the folks that are organising that, and we'll clarify that tonight in tonight's Friday night free-for-all. But if you're in Sydney and you want to come and have a chat, and let's see what comes out by next Thursday, then it should be an interesting night at Maldini's restaurant in Penrith. Can't wait to go and check it out. And thank you to everybody who's been so supportive this week in Sydney, trying to arrange a place for us to come and have a show next week. I'm really excited to be able to come to Sydney this week, particularly. The Aussie Cossack is, I feel, going to get out on Wednesday, the 13th of September. He's already been stuck in a low-grade minimum security centre now for, I think, a bit over a week and a half or 2 weeks. So on Wednesday, he will appear via video link, I'm sure, to answer to a parole hearing. I expect that he will get parole. That will mean Mrs. Cossack will probably depart the court immediately and head off to wherever that little prison farm is and go and collect him at the earliest convenience. I doubt that we will see him. He certainly will not be allowed to speak, I don't think, unless there has been a huge ruction in the courts now that the Queen has died as well. But I would be very surprised if he didn't come out with a gag order on him until at least the end of November. I want to say November 26th was the scheduled end of his original sentence. So if he is paroled, he will not be allowed to speak, I don't think, publicly on any channel at all until after that date. But as we know from Mrs. Cossack, he's been writing a book, which I cannot wait to read. And he is very grateful. I'm sure he wants to thank everybody who sent him postcards and the small books that he's been allowed to get in there too. So we will find out. I'm hopeful of catching up with Mrs. Cossack on one day next week. Whether that is at the court or not, I don't know. I'm not sure whether or not I'll go to the court. It's a I don't know Sydney. I don't know where I'll go to find. It's just a big issue to go and stand around a court all day and not really know where I am. But I will make the effort if the effort is required. So maybe the Aussie Cossack at the Downing Centre Court or Dowling, wherever it is, local court in Sydney. That's where the hearing's going to be heard, I think, on Wednesday, the 13th. We'll bring you up to speed with more of that tonight too. I'm sure we'll have a few more details, and I'll try and get a hold of Mrs. Cossack over the course of the day today, just to get a little bit more clarity on that for you. I don't think I've got too much news to tell you other than Singleton tonight. If you are in the area, come to the Cabal Hotel. They have the best meals. My God. The best beer, best cheap beer, cold, everything, beautiful pub, great little garden area, Thai food. Anything you want, you can basically get at the Cabal, and it is the people's pub. Pretty easy to spot it. It's got the red ensign on the roof, which is why we're here after all, because they've been having some trouble with the council, and not just with the red ensign. There are lots of people in town here who've been having trouble with the council. And can I tell you, after 3 days of intensive Magna Carta 1215 training, can I tell you that the Hunter Valley has some of the strongest women I have ever met in my life. My God, such leaders, such strength, such dedication. Boys, we are lagging behind. The women of the Hunter are bloody handmaidens from heaven. They are power, and you're going to meet a couple of them tonight in the Friday night free-for-all. They are unbelievable with what they've taken on and how they've taken on the system. The persecution, particularly one lady, Angela, has suffered. Well, her story is inspirational. And what is she, about 5'2", 5'3"? She's a nurse, I think she's still nursing, might be a former nurse. And the issues that she's had, and she was part of a distraction, folks. So we're going to explain to you why and how she was caught up in the distraction that you all got, well, maybe not you all, but many of the Australians got sucked into. So she's going to be on the show tonight. Darren Bergworth's coming on the show tonight. Guru will come on the show tonight. We'll get Brad on from the Cali, and he can tell us about the fight and what's happened here. I can tell you that, maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to tell you, Brad has had some communication from some people out of state who've been following what's going on with the red ensign on the roof and the fact that the council are carrying on the way they are. And that person has indicated that that this cause has been noticed internationally, and in fact by General Flynn. And General Flynn has sent some text messages and has indicated that he would like a couple of Cali shirts, and is in full support of what's going on here at the Cali. In a really big way. This is, well, it's nice if you're the owner of the Cali, it's a bit good, but if you're in our world, it's big news. So all I'm going to say, folks, is watch tonight's show, the Friday night free-for-all. I reckon we might start it a bit earlier tonight. We might start it at 7. Yeah, I can't tell you what's going to happen because I don't know, but I have a gut feeling something interesting is going to happen tonight. So who knows? Might just be that, Guru tells a funny joke. Stop saying okay. I don't know. Whatever he does. But we're going to have fun. And if you are anywhere within a bull's roar of the Cali in Singleton, please come and join us. Come and have a meal. We're going to sit out the back in the beer garden. We'll all be having a meal sort of from 5, 6 o'clock. And we'd love to say hello. But while we're eating with a mouthful, it's hard to answer questions. And we're going to answer most of them after 7 o'clock tonight. So we're not going to share the show with you beforehand. So by all means, come up and say hello. But yeah, we're going to keep the best stuff for everything that's coming up later online tonight. Thank you, folks, for everything that you have done. I know there's a few hundred of you watching at the moment, so thank you very much for everything that you've done to support us. Thank you to the people of Singleton who've come out and supported us here for our Magna Carta 1215 chat, and of course what we've been doing around the town with other bits and pieces too. It is a wonderful little town. First time I've ever been to Singleton, and it's a really great little warm community. And as I say, the women of the Hunter, because we've gathered from all over the Hunter Valley, people have come for the Magna Carta 1215 chats this week. Just the strength is amazing. I am blown away, and it's similar in Queensland. A lot of the women are leading this fight. Why, blokes? Why are the girls having to stand up and show the courage here? I mean, it's great that they are, because everybody has to show courage. But come on, guys, we got to get up and start doing a bit too. Follow your women and take some bloody direction from them, because they seem to know what's going on. So give it a good go. Follow the women, because they are the powerhouses, particularly here in Singleton. Just blown away. I would love to be able to introduce you to Liz, and Liz and John will be here tonight. We had a bit of a chat with her on Monday night. Liz and John, powerhouses in this community for our movement. The Brad, the Cali pub owner, and his family, who've owned this pub for over 20 years and have kept it in nothing but pristine heritage condition, without taking any money from heritage councils or anything like that. This pub has some great history. Chips Rafferty stayed here when they filmed a movie way back in the day. Who knew that they filmed movies in Singleton? So anyway, a lot of history in town, beautiful little town, and there is quite a movement now. This may not be the only red ensign going on the roofs of businesses in town. So come and join us tonight if you are anywhere close to Singleton, and even if you're not, come for the drive. It's going to be a great night. We hope to get it underway about 7 o'clock. It might be 7:30. Just depends on what happens with the rain and the weather, but it'll either be an inside-outside show or a full outside show. It just depends on the weather at the moment. If it is an inside show, we're going to be a little bit limited in space, but I do have a couple of screens up, so we'll put them up around the pub, and we should be able to get people to see what's going on, if nothing else. Thank you very much for everybody who is supporting, and vofhq.com is the website. If you want to check out the Magna Carta stuff, we've got a Magna Carta page there now. We are slowly going to be loading more and more stuff up there. Vince is doing an awesome job on our website creation. I can't thank him enough. We are working on a new design for our Magna Carta night, because that one can't be really used much anymore. We certainly can't use it in any kind of commercial sense. So we're abandoning him and getting a new one drawn. So if you are a commercial artist, a 3D artist, somebody who can generate, something like the night we already have, what we need is a completely original drawing in the same posture, the same stance. We really like that stance. We think that's what gives it power. And maybe a different sheet of armor, move the shield around a bit. I don't know. It just has to be an original drawing. It has to be an original knight, which is unfortunately where we got caught up in our previous one. There were changes made, I believe, but I've had a good look at the copyright laws, and I don't believe, just on my looking at it, that there's been enough changes made for us to call it a new original drawing. So I'm not prepared to sacrifice our movement or that and have people challenge us on using a copyrighted image. That's the whole reason this is being pulled, for no other reason. I don't want to work off the back of somebody else's work. And I put this up in good faith. I thought we were doing the right thing, and then we got caught out. So I apologize to those people who got very motivated and want to get the tattoo and get that whole thing done. I can't stop you getting the tattoo. If you want to get the tattoo, go and get the tattoo. But hang around, wait and see what the new one looks like, because hopefully it'll be better, and it'll mean a lot more, because it'll be original, it'll be ours, it'll be something for us. So really hope that you can appreciate what we're trying to do there, and appreciate your patience. Everybody who put in a T-shirt order for that Magna Carta 1215 T-shirt, I can't fulfill that order. I will fulfill the order with the new ones if you so want, but we'll probably start a new process for that. If you want a Voice of Freedom T-shirt, I can look after those, okay, because there's no issue with those. But if it's a Magna Carta 1215 shirt you're after, then and you've already sent an order. I haven't taken any money for those shirts at all, so nothing's changed hands there. We do have a list of all the orders, and I'll be in touch probably next week to ask whether or not you still want that, and get you to order through our website now, which hopefully by Monday we'll have all the ability to order what color shirt, what size shirt, all that sort of stuff. And it'll make it a lot easier in the whole order process. So what have I done? About half an hour. That's what I was hoping to do. White hat, white knight. Black sheep. What an interesting thought you bring to the party. There you go. If you're a commercial designer, Black Sheep has an idea there. White hat, white knight. Don't know. See how it goes. We are open to all suggestions, folks. I tell you what I would really like with our knight. What I would really like with our knight is a First Nations influence, because our knight has to represent everybody, our First Nations people, and everybody who was born on this continent is of First Nation. You are an original, okay? Just you were born 40,000 years after the originals. But we are all born of this land. We are all indigenous to this land if we were born on it. So don't ever forget that. And I think it's important that our new knight embodies that, embodies all of Australia. So I don't know how to do that exactly. And I have spoken to Annie Glenda, who is a consummate artist in her own right. She has some really good ideas about how we could incorporate that. And now that we've got to redraw from the beginning, maybe there are some First Nations artists who'd like to be involved with us on that. I would love you to be involved. We need you to be involved. We all have to come together, every one of us. Colour, creed doesn't matter. We are all First Nations people. If we were born on this land, then it is our land. We love this land like, well, every Australian loves this land. So I think it's important that our new night has that embodied in it. I'd like to hear your suggestions, your thoughts. Am I overthinking this? Is it, too wild, too silly, too stupid? I don't know. I don't believe it is. I think it's right. But this is a people's movement. What I say isn't gospel. I go with what the people want. So let's have this discussion. And if you know an artist who is capable of drawing, high quality images, 3D images, even game quality images, because that's the kind of image I suppose we had there, and we all loved it. I'm not a drawer. I'm a talker. I guess we've all figured that out. Otherwise, I'd sketch something out and say, here's what I'm thinking of. But I have no skills in that area at all. But there are people in our movement who do. We had some people who said, yes, we'll help. And then they realised it was Magna Carta 1215 and they sent back, after saying, if we do this for you, we won't charge you. We just want to use it in our portfolio. And I said, yeah, great. That's no problems. Then they figured out it might be a bit political, so they backed away and don't want to do it anymore. There's nothing political about Magna Carta 1215, folks. You're either with us or you're not. And if you want to draw it and you think it's too political, you'd like to draw it and you don't want any recognition for drawing it, well, that's okay too. We're happy not to promote you. We're happy just to promote the night. But we need somebody who can draw it. But if you want promotion out of it, we are happy to promote because you are part of us. That's what I want to build here. I want to build a channel that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that is just for us. And it promotes businesses that are helping us, that are part of us. We're going to grow that community, folks, so that when you're going to go and spend your Bitcoin or your dollar or your ounce of gold or your pound of silver, you're going to spend it with people who are us, a part of us, who've been playing with us, learning with us, growing with us. So I'm also going to talk tonight about something else. I'm going to talk about Magna Carta 1215, but I'm going to talk about it in a different way. I want you to think, you've heard me talk about Magna Carta, both 1297 and 1215, as a weapon. It's not a gun. It's not a fierce weapon. It doesn't kill anybody, or well, I suppose it can. But we're going to talk about that tonight as a weapon. And I'm very interested to see what your thoughts are about how I'm going to present that to you. I've been trying to figure it out for the last couple of days, and with a Galactic Larrikin's help and a little bit of a help from Fitz, I've started to form a way that I'm going to explain this to you. I hope it settles on you like it's settled on a couple of other people that we've sort of practiced on around here. But that's all coming tonight. So the Friday night free-for-all, live from the Cali. It's going to kick off at 7 o'clock. The Cali is on Main Street in Singleton. Come and join us. You can't miss us. Big pub, big red ensign on the roof, big car park out the back. It does tend to fill up after the mine's empty at shift time, so you might want to get here a bit early. There is a great beer on tap, and I've got to say, the food, my God, the food. Bradford Galactic Larrikin, tell us about the food.
Awesome food.
Awesome food. There you go. He hides. He doesn't like getting his head on camera, which is right because he's really ugly. There he is. So can't thank the Galactic Larrikins enough too. Rob's coming back tonight. Mark's coming back tonight. We'll have a full complement of the Larrikins. The Guru, the whole crew from the Guru on their way, and they'll be here too. Darren Bergworth coming in from Melbourne. I've got a couple of other people I think I've got lined up, but I won't mention them just yet for two reasons. One, I've forgotten them, and two, I'm not sure if they've confirmed. So we'll wait on those. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like Rick's going to be able to join us because he's got some other stuff on. But we'll get there. We'll get there. And next week, Sydney, we're coming to you. Penrith, Maldini's, Maldinis is the name of the restaurant in Penrith. It's on the Nepean River. and I think there's only about 150 seats available in the room. It's a fairly small venue. Don't know who's going to turn up, don't know what's going to turn up, but by Thursday there's going to be so much stuff to talk about. So yeah, love to see you. Looking forward to coming to Sydney, and we'll go and have a chat, hopefully with Mrs. Cossack, because we will not be allowed to chat with Mr. Cossack if he gets out, and I'm still in town. Thanks very much for this support, folks. It's wonderful to have it. I'm sorry I haven't been able to do some lives like I had promised in the last few days. It's been really just, I really underestimated what was going to happen here. So we've had a lot of people, 2 lessons a day and like 2 sessions a day. And we've had a lot of people every day trying to learn more and take the oath around Magna Carta 1215. And once the lessons finish, I wind up standing and talking to people for some hours. Last night, to give you an example, we finished last night's lesson early at about 9:30, and I got to bed at 1:45. I was answering questions solidly until then after the show from people. So that's sort of what's been happening here, and it happens twice a day. So by the time I get up in the morning, I've got to go and try and get some semblance of decency together, and then we're into doing Magna Carta learning. So I apologise. I haven't been on. That's going to change. Things will be a lot more regular, and next week I'll do shows every day from Sydney. I don't know where in Sydney. We'll have a bit of fun, go for a drive around, take the dog for an adventure, and look forward to seeing you maybe upon it. We're looking. My daughter and I have never been to Taronga Zoo, and that's our desire. We'd love to go to Taronga Zoo, but they don't allow dogs. So, and the dog, unfortunately, is welded to the child, because otherwise it sounds like a busted turbo. Bloody thing. Anyway, so we won't be going to Taronga Park Zoo, but we will be wandering around, and hey, look, we might find somewhere to catch up. London Bridge has definitely fallen, Andrew. Yep, it's on. So yeah, as I've said before, be watching for things to start happening, and they're going to start happening rapidly. Your financial system will probably be the first thing that takes a shake. It will start in the UK, and it will work its way out worldwide. Don't freak. Don't freak. Get some cash on hand. Go and get some out of the bank, hang on to it. You're probably going to need enough to get you through 10, 12 days. Food, well, we've been saying prep for food. Don't think they're going to shut everything down. I think shops will still be open, but they won't be able to deal with FPOS and those electronic banking services. If they are open, they will have to be dealing in cash still. I don't think they're going to be geared up to take gold or silver. So have some cash on hand. Do not rely on your cards from today onwards. Have some cash on hand, because this could happen at any moment. So that would be my advice. Watch out for what's going on with the financial system. We're also going to see, I think, in the coming 10 days, maybe 3 weeks, we're going to see some very high-profile confessions from some very surprising people. That'll be the catalyst, I think, to start waking the world up and red-pilling the world. Some are just not going to like it, and it's going to be difficult. So all this is about ready to go, and it's all going to happen between now and the 8th of November. Now, when I say it's all going to happen, I don't mean it's all going to be over. I just mean a lot of revelation is going to happen between now and then. So be prepared. Have a bit of cash on hand, have a bit of water, have a bit of food, and keep your friends close, and keep your family close. And I would suggest maybe having a look at Robert Deutsch and see what the weather's doing. I haven't seen yet. Some people have sent me some images of the weather that's coming down from up north. Apparently there's a 2,000 kilometre wide band of rain that is making its way from North Queensland south, and it doesn't look like breaking up anytime soon. The other thing we will wind up talking about, I think, tonight, and bear in mind, folks, that this is all by design. In Victoria, if you are in Victoria at the moment, you can expect big floods in the next few weeks. And why is that? Well, Lake Eildon is still at 95%. The Hume Dam is still at 100%. Now, normally at this time of year, they've released water out of those two facilities. Usually Eildon gets down to 70% or below, and the Hume Dam, they'll drop down to somewhere between 80 and 90%. Why do they do that at this time of year? Pretty simple. Because this time of year, the spring rains come. And where are those two big catchments located? They're located in the snowfields. So you can be assured that when Lake Eildon at 95% full, because it it can get more full, I suppose, but then it starts flooding. They're going to start pouring water down the Goulburn River. They're going to start pouring water down the Murray River. There's going to be phenomenal amounts of snow coming off what has been a record snow season. So they're going to start the melt, and they're going to use the spring rains to do it. That melt's going to come down into those rivers and dams, and I would suggest that the area where the Goulburn River flows through from Numurkah, Shepparton, all the way up through there, up to Echuca. Be amazed if Echuca doesn't go under. There's going to be so much water coming down the Murray. So this is by design, because your water planning people, for whatever reason, have decided this year not to open the gates and mitigate the snow runoff. So all that water is going to start coming down in the next week or so when these rains start hitting that into Victoria, northeastern Victoria, and the snow melt begins. So if you're in that area, prepare for it. I think there's going to be some major flooding right through the Goulburn Valley, and of course, what happens in the Goulburn Valley? It's a food bowl. So much stuff is grown in the Goulburn Valley. SPC have their cannery there. Goulburn Valley have their cannery there. It's fruits, vegetables, the whole deal. It's a massive food bowl, and I think they're going to flood it. That's what I think is going to happen. Well, it's all that can happen. It's logic. This snow runoff, we've had more snow this year than we've ever had before, apparently. I'm not a skier, I wouldn't know. But that snow has to melt. It has to go somewhere. Nobody's done the flood mitigation this year. They've left the dams full. Thank you, Victorian State Government. Okay, so there you go. That's my little bit of news. We'll talk more about that tonight, maybe with Darren, and see what he knows about it. But it's coming, folks. The rain's on the way. They're going to try and keep us bound. And if you are interested in Melbourne, speaking of on the way, so Sydney next week, I'm going back to Queensland. I'm doing the 21st of September at the Waterfront Hotel in Diddillibah, which is on the Sunshine Coast, about halfway between Noosa and Caloundra. Great venue. Give them a call. Tell them you're coming for the show. People who book dinner are getting priority. Once again, it's a small room. I think we can hold about 150, 180 people there. If it happens to get oversubscribed, I'm actually doing breakfast radio on Mix FM on the Sunshine Coast for the last 2 weeks of September. And I won't be talking any of this stuff unless there's been a big change of management and they've let me talk. But I will be doing the live show on the 21st. And if it gets oversubscribed and more people want to have another show, the pub does have a tentative booking for the 28th a week later. So you can say, well, put me down for the 28th. And if we get enough people, we'll come back on the 28th. I'll go wherever you want me to go, folks. That's what it's all about. So after we have finished on I think it's the 30th of September, I finish at Mix FM on the sunny coast. I'll come back to Brisbane for a day. That'll be, I think, the sum total of 3 nights I will have spent in the new house that we've moved to before we get in the car and we're going to drive to Melbourne. We're coming to Melbourne for the first week of October. We will come down and do some shows, hopefully with Darren Bergwerf and his crew. There is a big event happening on the 7th of October, but I'm also very keen to bring your attention to a huge event that we want everybody to come to in Melbourne at the Shrine on Remembrance Day. We'll talk about that tonight with Darren Bergwerf as well. But if you can get to Melbourne, the 11th of the 11th, 2022, the Shrine in Melbourne. I can't tell you why it's significant. I don't know. I just know that it is. There's a lot of talk about the Shrine for many years in the groups that I sort of float around in. None of us know why it's significant. We can't figure out why. We know that Melbourne is the head of the snake. We know that you've got to stop Melbourne before you can stop anything else in the rest of Australia. But we don't know why the Shrine is so important. But 1 million people gathered around it on the 11th of the 11th, 22, might show us. Make plans, because I'm going to be back for that one too. I think it could be a bit of fun. Mission to Melbourne on the 7th, and there are drives coming from all over. In fact, I'm thinking about catching the Queensland drive as it comes down. I think they're coming past me while I'm still doing the breakfast show, so I won't be able to join it, but I might be able to meet it on the way down because I think the drive is taking 3, 4, or 5 days, whatever it is. So if you want to come down for the 7th, there is a huge drive. It's starting in Cairns. They're picking up all the way down through Queensland, through New South Wales and into Victoria. And I think by the time the convoy arrives in Victoria, it's going to be of such reasonable size and stature that it's going to look pretty impressive. So if you're in for that, then that's coming up in the first week of October as well. We'll have some more details on that. I'll go and get a little bit better versed, and I'll actually try and find the run and the dates where they're picking up along the road. So dates and places. All you really do is pull over on the side of the road, wait for everybody else to turn up and join the queue. It's a great community builder and a great way to meet people, not dissimilar to the run to Canberra, but 1 million people around the shrine on the 11th of the 11th, 22. That's what we're aiming for. Darren will have more news for that on us, with us tonight. Let me just have a bit of a quick scan. How's the pub going with the fight with the council, Marty? Well, there've been a lot of interesting things happen with the council since we've arrived this week. We've had mainstream media here. We've had very good mainstream media stories, front page paper, first story off NBN News Service. A lot of councillors have come, or at least one councillor I know for sure, but I believe others have come and spoken with Brad, the owner here, and they don't support what's happening. Apparently the letter that he was sent, the demolition letter, was sent by the chief executive officer of the local council, unbeknownst to any councillor, and it seemed to be a process thing, and just it happens, it gets triggered, and yet nobody seems to know about that, including the chief executive officer of the council. So there are some question marks as to who sent the demand and the $500,000 fine threat and the threat of demolition. The council rapidly seems to be backing away. They've asked and said publicly in their mainstream media comments that they look forward to engaging with Brad to try and solve the issue. Now, the issue isn't the red ensign on the roof. It's not that the flag is on the roof. The issue is that parts of the flag, the stars and the 4 corners of the Southern Cross, have been constructed by a roofing company and then been attached professionally to the roof. And it looks great. I mean, it just adds that slight little 3D aspect to the whole flag. It looks great. The problem is the Cali is a heritage-listed hotel, and they've put this construction on a heritage-listed roof on the heritage-listed street, and somebody in the heritage area didn't like that. Council don't seem to have a problem, but there are some members of council on the Heritage Committee who probably have raised this. So where are we at? We're not really sure yet, but at the moment, it's not coming down. He's not paying a fine, and God help anybody who comes here to try and demolish it. He has support from all over the world for this, including, as I said earlier, General Flynn, who's made contact, wants some Cali shirts, wants some red ensign Cali shirts, and wants Brad to know that General Flynn and crew are behind him. I don't know. What do you say? Okay, good. Maybe we're going to get a strange drop-in tonight. Oh, look, I heard you guys were doing a live. I thought I'd call in. I don't know how to get the stream key off to the general, but if anybody does, let me know. I'll send it. I'm sure Brad would love to sit down and have a chat with him. So, anyway, that's not going to happen. General Flynn will not be on the show tonight. I think I can confidently guarantee that. I can guarantee the Guru will be on the show, and if we shut him up long enough, if we let him talk long enough, he may well come out with a secret or two. Shutting him up is not an option. So, no, that's not an option. We'll see you here tonight, folks. Come and join us. I'm going to shut up. I only want to go 30 minutes, and I've gone 50. So we'll see you here tonight. If you can get to the Cali Hotel in Singleton, come and join us. Come sit down, have a beer, have a meal. Best meal in town. Great steaks, great burgers, great Thai. Really, duck curry. Great. Oh, yeah, to die for. So come and check it out and be part of the show tonight. Who knows who's going to pop on? We have absolutely no idea. I do know that Guru, Darren Bergworth will be here. Got a couple of locals, the women in town here. Got a couple of girls who I'm going to introduce you to who are just powerhouses, and blokes, you need to step up. And after meeting these girls, I'm sure you will. Thank you, folks, for sticking around. I've talked long enough. You go off and do whatever it is that you've got to do on a Friday. We've got to go and figure out how we're going to conduct a television show in the wet, because we're not really geared up for that, but we'll figure it out and look forward to seeing you tonight. I reckon we'll kick the show off from 7 o'clock. Might be a little bit early because they do a huge meal trade here, right? And I don't want to jack their meal trade. So it might be 7 o'clock. We'll have a discussion about that. It could be, it would definitely be 7:30 if it's not 7 o'clock. All right. We just want to give the pub enough time to get some meals through before we have people just filling up the aisles, because we're expecting a big crowd tonight, and we hope you're going to be amongst it. Look forward to seeing you soon, folks, and thanks for following us on the Voice of Freedom. It is your voice, you know. You may as well turn up and use it.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?